Boelter Jones, Pro Football Hall of Famer, top 100.
Tyler Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf from
Nate Burleson. You're watching NorbCam.
NorbCam. You're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you with this Sunday live broadcast here to talk about the Seahawks 53-man roster. And yes, I'll be the first one to say I'm extremely disappointed in not the roster, but the one player who was not even around a camp, who I've been saying was going to return, and he never did. Jadaveon Clowney. Yes, the clown circus has left the building, not coming to Seattle. I'm going to get into that in just a minute. But before we do, just would like to ask you to please, if you wouldn't mind, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. And that way you won't miss a single episode, any video that I drop coming up here in the future. I appreciate your support. All right, this is NorbCam. Thanks for watching my channel. Let's get into it right here. So before I get into the list of the 53, the first thing is that we've all been watching with great anticipation the Jadaveon Clowney story. This is the best way I can put this. This is like a really long movie with a crappy ending. We've seen a few movies like that, and that's exactly what this was like. I was saying all along that Clowney was going to come back. Just wait and see. I'm going to be standing at the end saying, I told you so. Well, I told you so, and I was wrong. Clowney, is, you've probably all been, for those of you who've been following closely, did sign with the Tennessee Titans. Approximately $12 million deal. Could be up to 15 with incentives and things like that if certain goals are accomplished throughout the years. So he returns to the Titans. Apparently, from what I'm hearing, the Seahawks as well as the Saints, they were all in the mix to the very final hours last night. And then finally, he decided to go back to his previous coach, who he was with at the Texans, Mike Vrabel over at the Titans, and decided the familiarity with the scheme and his coaching was enough to sway him to go to the Titans, which I can't blame him. Titans, at least, I don't think he went to the highest bidder. He also didn't just go to some crappy team that was going to pay him a lot of money. Obviously, the Titans made it to the playoffs last year, almost could have made it to the AFC Championship, but did lose to the Chiefs. But so he is going to a contender with an opportunity to potentially make a Super Bowl run. So I can't blame him for that. I'm just disappointed, obviously, because we really wanted to get that name pass rusher on the line. And I think during the whole offseason, we kept saying, hey, we'll sign Clowney, but if we don't, we'll get Everson Griffin. Well, then Griffin went to the Cowboys. And if we don't get Griffin, we'll get Ngakoue. Well, then Ngakoue went to the Vikings. So we got 0 for 3. We didn't get any of those guys. So if we were looking for a home run hitter in the defensive end edge rush category, well, we don't have it. So we did make a couple of moves here, though, as I'll go through this list and reveal what all the positions turned out to be. But we did make a couple of moves, and there might be more, because with all the teams having cut their rosters down, a lot of guys clearing waivers and opportunities for people to get picked up. We did do a couple of moves, or at least one move worth mentioning. So just to jump into, before I go through the list, just following up with finishing up the Clowney situation. So we didn't get any of those 3 big names, and we hoped to get somebody in the draft, and we did go after second-round pick Darrell Taylor, defensive end. I was like, okay, go. We went linebacker on the first pick, and then went second round, Darrell Taylor, defensive end. But then now he's got a non-football injury. He's going to miss at least 6 weeks. So he's not even on the starting roster right now because of this injury, this leg. He's got a titanium rod in his leg that he got surgery for earlier in the year. He's still recovering from that. So if you're looking for draft help on that side of things, well, that's not going to happen at least for 6 weeks. So it's going to have to be the guys we have on the roster, which I'm going to get to real quick. One of the big disappointments, which turned out to not be so disappointing, was the waiving of Shaquem Griffin, the brother of Shaquille Griffin, the twin Seahawks brothers. I know a lot of you guys were disappointed, mad that he got released. Well, as we all hoped, he would clear waivers and have the Seahawks a chance to get him back in the practice squad, and he did. He did clear waivers with a bunch of other guys who cleared waivers. So there's a good chance a lot of the guys who are waived may come back to the practice squad, like some of our backup QBs, like Anthony Gordon probably goes back to the practice squad, Shaquem, and several others. So Shaquem was temporarily gone, or felt like he might be gone, but he's not gone. He's here. So we're doing okay in that regard. He's going to be a little bit more limited in his role. And see what else worth mentioning. Oh, yeah. So our 4th-round pick, tight end Colby Parkinson in our very deep tight end department. He starts the year off on the non-football injury list, so he won't be included on the list either, hopefully returning later on in the season. Just those things worth noting. So let's get into the list. I'm going to start off with the offense right here. Skill positions. All right there. So on offense, over my right shoulder, of course, we got our quarterbacks, Russell Wilson. I said Gmo. That's a nice typo. That's Geno Smith. I want to fix that right now because I'm anal that way. Geno Smith is your quarterbacks. There you go. And then our running backs, of course, Chris Carson, DJ Dallas, Travis Homer, Carlos Hyde. Those are the 4. And then you got Rashad Penny on the PUP. So he's going to miss the first few weeks of the season. But at some point, we'll come back and be part of that very deep running back room. The wide receivers, also a little bit of there'll be some moving around probably here once Josh Gordon gets off the suspended list. But for right now, it's Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Philip Dorsett, David Moore, Freddie Swain, John Ursua. And then, of course, we signed, as I mentioned, Josh Gordon, who I thought he was off the list. He's not officially off the list yet, but Seattle did sign him to about a $1 million deal. Waiting for him to get off that list, and then they'll activate him. Just a question of when will he be freed from suspension jail from the league? That's what we're just waiting for. So at some point when he does get activated, there will probably be some movement here in this list. We'll see how that changes things. But for right now, those are your official list of your starting 6 receivers. All right, so let's go to the line here on the offense. That would be your tight ends and the offensive line. So our tight end crew, Greg Olsen, Will Dissly, Jacob Hollister, and Luke Wilson. And on the offensive line, Dwayne Brown, Mike Iupati, Ethan Posick at center, Damian Lewis at the right guard, and Brandon Shell at right tackle. And our backups there, BJ Finney at backup center, and you got Philip Haynes, Jordan Simmons, Jamarco Jones, and Cedric Ogwehi. We did talk about Justin Britt. He did come back for a visit last week, as did Paul Richardson. And at this point, neither of them are on the team. Paul Richardson was signed, and then he was released before he even finished signing his name on the dotted line. So Richardson, I think as soon as the Flash Gordon news came about that he was going to become available, Richardson pretty much evaporated just as quickly. And apparently with Justin Britt, there's been no news since the mention about him coming out for a workout. Maybe they just saw maybe he was not ready to get back into action, because he did come off of that injury when he ended his time with Seattle. For whatever reason, they decided not to take a chance on him. So at least at this point right now, neither of those guys are signed. So no Justin Britt. Those are your starting offensive linemen. All right, so let's go to the defensive side of the ball. With the defensive line, we've got L.J. Collier, Rasheem Green, Benson Mayowa, Demontre Moore, Alton Robinson, Poona Ford, Brian Monet, and Jaron Reed. These are your guys that we're going to be really relying on to step it up in the trenches, both on stopping the run, getting some pass rush there. I'm really looking to hopefully get something out of our former first pick, L.J. Collier. We need him to step up. Last year, he was hurt early in training camp and never quite got his rhythm going. Hopefully this is the year that he'll do it. Rasheem Green had led the team in sacks last year. Hopefully he can build on that. Benson Mayowa, former Seahawk of the 2013 Super Bowl season, coming back, having some good numbers, so maybe he might surprise some people. Demontre Moore, trying to build on what we've had before. Alton Robinson, lighting it up in camp. The new kid, hopefully he can do some damage if he can live up to the hype that we've seen so far in training camp. Poona Ford, solid in the middle. Need him to keep doing his thing. Brian Monet, and then Jaron Reed, we're hoping for a replication of a couple of years ago when he had double-digit sack numbers. We need that. He's got a good start to the season. Last year he was suspended for 6 games, so this year he's got the full season to prove it, show what he can do. So let's hope that one of these guys can step up. Now, there was an addition to the linebacking core that just happened today. So what we got right now is Bobby Wagner, of course, KJ Wright, Bruce Irvin, also brought in kind of like Benson Mayowa. Bruce Irvin coming after starting with the Seahawks, now a seasoned vet, having some good numbers the last couple of years, hoping he can do some edge rush stuff for us. Then, of course, Cody Barton, Jordan Brooks, our rookie, who's We'll see how they use him, but I expect he'll start getting a pretty active role at linebacker. And then at depth, Ben Burkervin. And the most recent news just breaking this morning, DeAndre Swift was picked up off waivers from the Titans. Probably when Clowney went in, DeAndre Walker got out, and the Seahawks picked him up. Hopefully to add to that edge rush potential like what Bruce Irvin will be doing. And what I've read is DeAndre Walker, he's a fast dude. Guy runs like a sub 4.4 40. So the guy's got speed. Question is, does he have pass rush moves? Because it doesn't do any good if a guy's got speed and he just gets pushed out of the way. So hopefully DeAndre Walker might be a guy to help contribute on that on the edge rushing. All right, finally, we've got on the backside of the defense part, of course, we're all excited about the cornerback, Shaquille Griffin, Trey Flowers, Quentin Dunbar, and Nico Thorpe, and Lyndon Stevens. This is a name that I didn't say much. I was actually surprised when I saw him on the list. I really don't know much about this guy, but apparently he did enough in training camp to earn a spot. So those are your 5 corners. And then at safety, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, Marquise Blair, who will be probably the starting nickel corner, even though he's listed at safety, and then Ugo Amadi and Lano Hill. So that is your secondary, expecting a lot from these guys. They got to really step it up this year. And your special teams, same exact as last year. Michael Dixon, your punter, Jason Myers, your kicker, and Tyler Ott, the long snapper. And as a side note, I've been saying it's not a sexy position, but man, I think a smart move, if you're going to start and playing football, you should just go out and say, one day I want to be the best long snapper in the NFL, because long snappers have great job security. They don't get hit. You're not even allowed to be lined up on those guys. And all they got to do is snap the ball. And if you can do that, I think you can have a great, solid career in the NFL and last a long time. Anyway, that's a side note for all you youngsters thinking about trying to find a job in the NFL. Okay, so that is your starting 53-man roster. Obviously, some changes still pending, depending on what happens, like I said, with the Paul Richardson thing, and there are still players out there to be had with all these teams cutting loose guys. So there you go. I'm excited. I'm optimistic. This is it. This is your team, pending any last-minute changes. But in a week from now, Seattle will, actually by this time next week, will be entering into the final half of the first game, since we're playing a 10 a.m. Pacific time game against the Atlanta Falcons. So, in a week, it happens. In an empty Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Speaking of that game, I've been posting it all over my social media and here on YouTube to tune in tonight, because with the first game comes the first collaboration video. Yes, me and Falcons fan Sports Live in the ATL are going to go at it tonight. Haven't done it in a while, but I'm excited to do it. We've had a few wagers in the past where I've won a few, he's won a few more, and it's cool to be starting the season off facing against him, and we're going to do a little wager, a little bet to see who wins, who loses. We're going to get into that tonight, and then losers got to pay up to the other one, and we'll tell you all about it and what the terms of that wager will be. So tonight, you don't want to miss that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Sports Live in the ATL. His YouTube channel is in the description, so go check him out, sub him up. He's a pretty entertaining, funny guy. So you don't want to miss that tonight. And as I said earlier, too, this week, a lot of people have been asking me, when is my 2020 Seahawks music prediction video coming out? It will drop this Friday. That's the plan. The world premiere of my 2020 Seahawks prediction music video will drop on Friday, and it's going to be big. They always are one of the more popular videos on my channel, but this one is probably the longest one ever. 16 songs for 16 games. Ambitious as I'll get. I'm not going to get much sleep this week, but I'm opening this up. I'd like to feature a lot of you guys who have been so loyal to my channel here to be in it. So I've been asking people to send me, and I've already been getting some great videos so far. So if you want to be in it, take a video of yourself in your Seahawks gear, of course, and email it to me at norb@norbcam.com. That would be the ideal way. Some people have been sending it through Instagram and other forms, but I would love it. It's the most easiest if you just email it to me. And just a shot of you in your gear. You can just be kind of, giving me a Seahawks pose, just giving me a good, just give me a good look. Or you could throw some music on and just kind of do some moves. I'm going to be cutting this thing up throughout the music video in different tempos, different things like that. So some people have been sending me, I initially asked for some clips of people dancing to the song Savage Love by Jason Derulo, with that little choreography that you'll find on TikTok or on YouTube. And some people have been sending me that, so you can do that as well. But most thing, I just want to get your face, your lovely mug with your Seahawks gear. I'm wearing my old school shirt right here. And just show your Seahawks spirit, man. And I'll try to put you on the video. Deadline Tuesday, because I'm going to be going in to edit probably Wednesday. So I have a couple days to cut this thing up. So I'll be head up to my eyeballs in editing mid part of the week. So I need to get your clips before then. So send it to me. I can't wait to see what clips I get. I've already gotten a few, and they're pretty hilarious. So can't wait to see what you guys got. What else? And then, of course, later this week on Wednesday, I'll have my usual roundtable with the fellas and talking, again, breaking down this first game, Seattle versus Atlanta, seeing what it's going to take for us to get a win and get up to a good start in 2020. So we'll be getting into all that later this week on Wednesday. So a full schedule, lots going on, and the Fan-to-Fan Network, which I've been talking about, the collaboration of multiple YouTube influencers around the country, all coming together on the Fan-to-Fan Network, fan-to-fannetwork.com. Go check that out. You'll see me under the Seahawks page, putting up news articles and videos there. And we also do live videos 3 days a week on all the game days. So you'll find me on there as well, starting this week with the official start of the season Thursday. And I think I might, being that, especially now that all the games are being played at home, I may actually do more reaction videos. I'll, of course, do the Seahawks games, but I might try to grab a few more games like the Thursday nights and the Monday night games and watch those as well. I'm playing fantasy this year, so I've got a lot more interest in other teams now since I got to start watching these players and all that stuff. It's so much to do, but it's a lot of fun. So I've got vested interest in teams I wouldn't normally care about. And in fact, I have fantasy guys on Atlanta I'm going to be in that strange world of, now I see what it's like, where you're basically rooting for your team to win, but you have players you're rooting for on the opposition. It's a weird deal. I can't wrap my head around it still, but I look at fantasy as just business, and then there's my passion with the Seattle. So I guess no matter what, it makes it kind of well, it could be a win-win or a lose-lose, depending on how you look at it. But so I'm definitely having a vested interest in all these other games going on. From a fantasy perspective, as well as just trying to keep up with other games I have to pay attention to. So I'll probably be streaming a lot more games this year. And going to be at home. I'm going to be streaming all these games at home for the first time ever, since there's no watch parties at Emerald Downs. There's no games at CenturyLink, at least not for the time being. So I'm going to be doing it right from here, which is kind of cool, actually, because I got all my tech with me. So I don't have to worry about bad internet connection at the stadium, which haunts me all the time. So in some ways, it'll be an improved broadcast for you guys. And I'm planning to work out some details of how I can get a little bit more interactive things that are pertaining to the game. I can't show footage of the games, they'll YouTube, NFL frown on that, but it can work out at least some things where you can have a little bit more sense of what's going on during these games. So I'm excited. As you could tell, there's so much going on with this weird start of the NFL year, but except for the Clowney disappointment, I am very optimistic about the Seahawks. Biggest concern really is just the defensive and the offensive lines. They're going to have to prove it, because we don't have that feeling like, oh, these guys have been there before. These guys, have done it. It's more like if they can do it, if they can step up and be something as what they've done before or better, then both trenches will be better. And so I have no doubt our receiving corps is going to be great. Our running back group, I love. Russell Wilson, what can you say about Russell Wilson? Tight ends, I'm really excited about. Linebackers, solid. Secondary, you know what a time it is. Jamal Adams, all those guys. We got probably one of the best secondaries we've had since the Legion of Boom. Perhaps we can exceed even some of that. Soon to find out. And special teams is special teams. So a lot to be excited about. Just a big couple question marks there in the trenches. But if they can show that we can do what they're capable of and exceed what we hope that they can do, then this team can really go far. But I'm excited to share with you my predictions on Friday and see if you guys agree, disagree with what I have to say. It's always a lot of fun, but I can't wait to show that to you guys. So excited. So that's it, guys. I wanted to just get y'all up to date on all that. I'll try to break anytime other interesting news happens during the course of this week leading up to that first game. But if for nothing else, make sure you check out my buddies Noah, the Bolt channel. Check out Steezy A. Smith, my buddy Calvin. Seahawks Martin's dropping videos. Sam Dog, Sports Live in the ATL. And of course, again, we have our collab video tonight, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I will see you guys tonight for that one. All right? Until then, have a great Sunday. See you in a few hours. Go Hawks.